Commander stood on the bridge of the Celestial Dominion, his four eyes scanning the holographic display of the blue planet below. Earth. The Galactic Council had classified it as a Category 7. The atmosphere was corrosive with oxygen. The surface was covered with liquid hydrogen oxide that could dissolve organic matter. The gravity was crushing. The temperature fluctuations were extreme enough to kill most species within hours. Yet somehow life had evolved there. Worse still, intelligent life had emerged from that hellscape. The humans. The Empire had conquered 17 star systems. They had never failed to subjugate a primitive species, had personally overseen the successful invasion of 4 worlds. This mission was supposed to be routine. The humans had no faster-than-light travel. They had no energy shields. Their weapons were primitive chemical propellants and crude nuclear devices. Victory was certain. "Commander," his second officer reported, "our ground forces have secured the landing zone in the northern continent. They report minimal resistance. The human military forces are retreating." Clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. "Excellent. Begin the occupation protocols. Secure the population centers. These humans will make adequate workers once they are properly conditioned." The first reports came in 12 hours later. They were not what expected. "Commander, we have a situation," said, his voice trembling in a way had never heard before. "Squad 7 has gone silent. Their life signs are still active, but they are not responding to communications." "Send Squad 12 to investigate," ordered. 20 minutes later, Squad 12's commander made contact. His voice was barely above a whisper. "Commander, we found Squad 7. They are alive, but they will not move. They will not speak. They are just staring at a human dwelling." "Explain yourself, soldier. What happened to them?" "Sir, I do not know how to explain. You need to see this yourself. I am transmitting visual feed now." The holographic display flickered to life. Saw Squad 7 standing in rigid formation outside a small human structure. Their weapons were lowered. Their bodies were shaking. Several had dropped to their knees. One was making the high-pitched keening sound that made only in the presence of extreme psychological trauma. Then the visual feed panned to show what they were watching. A human female was sitting on the ground outside the dwelling. She was small by human standards, perhaps a juvenile or a smaller adult variant, but that was not what makes blood run cold. Beside her sat a creature. It had 4 legs. Its body was covered in golden fur. Its mouth was open, revealing rows of sharp teeth designed for tearing flesh from bone. Its eyes were the eyes of a predator. Recognized it immediately from the galactic database. Lupus, the domesticated wolf, one of the most efficient pack hunters to ever evolve on any known world. A creature whose ancestors had killed prey 10 times their size through coordinated attacks and relentless pursuit predation. The human female was touching it. She was running her hands through its fur. She was pressing her face against its neck. The creature's tail was moving back and forth rapidly. Then, to absolute horror, the creature opened its mouth and ran its tongue across the human's face. The human made a sound. At first, thought it was a scream of pain. Then he realized she was laughing. "She is playing with it," whispered. "Commander, she is playing with an apex predator like it is a companion." "That is impossible," said, but his voice lacked conviction. "The creature should have killed her. It should have torn out her throat." "There is more, Commander. Look." The visual feed shifted again. Another human emerged from the dwelling. This one was larger, a male. He was carrying a round object in his hand. The predator immediately stood up, its entire body tense with hunting instinct. Its eyes locked onto the object. Every muscle in its powerful frame was coiled like a spring. The human threw the object. The predator exploded into motion. It ran with a speed that made hearts pound. Its legs were a blur. Its body was a perfect machine of pursuit and capture. It caught the object in its jaws and then, impossibly, brought it back to the human. The human took the object from the predator's mouth. He patted its head. The predator's tail moved faster. Its tongue hung from its mouth. It looked at the human with an expression that could only describe as adoration. "They have formed a pack bond," said slowly. "The humans have somehow formed pack bonds with apex predators." Over the next several days, reports flooded in from across the occupied territories. Each one was more disturbing than the last. A squad of soldiers had surrounded a human settlement. They were preparing to round up the inhabitants for processing. Then the humans released their bonded predators. Dozens of the creatures came pouring out of dwellings. They barked and snarled. They formed defensive lines around the human young. The soldiers, trained warriors who had conquered worlds, broke and ran. Another squad reported encountering a single human male with a massive black predator at his side. The creature stood nearly as tall as the human's waist. Its head was enormous. When it growled, the sound vibrated in the soldiers' chest cavities. The human had simply walked through their checkpoint. None of the soldiers had been willing to fire. The predator had looked at them with eyes that promised death to anyone who threatened its human. A reconnaissance team discovered a human training facility. Inside, humans were teaching their bonded predators to perform complex tasks. The predators could track scents over vast distances. They could detect hidden enemies. They could respond to silent hand signals. Some had been trained to attack on command. The reconnaissance team leader submitted his resignation immediately after returning to the ship. The final report came from Commander Al, who led the occupation force in a large human city. His voice was broken when he made contact. "Commander, I must report a complete failure of our mission objectives. My soldiers can no longer function. They refuse to enter human dwellings. They refuse to approach humans who have predators with them. Yesterday, a human child walked through our security perimeter. She was holding a small version of the predator in her arms. The creature could not have weighed more than 5 standard units. It had fluffy white fur and made small yipping sounds. My soldiers fled." Trained warriors of the Empire fled from a child, holding a miniature predator. "How is this possible?" demanded. "They are just animals, dangerous animals, yes, but animals nonetheless." "You do not understand, Commander. It is not the predators themselves that terrify us. It is what the predators represent. It is what they tell us about the humans." Al paused. When he continued, his voice was barely audible. "Commander, what kind of species looks at an apex predator and thinks, 'I want that to be my friend'? What kind of species takes a creature designed by evolution to kill and hunt and somehow convinces it to be loyal? The humans did not enslave these predators. They did not break them. They bonded with them. They turned hunters into companions. They made pack members out of wolves." Understood then. The fear was not of the predators. The fear was of the humans. Any species that could form emotional bonds with apex predators was a species beyond understanding. Any species that could look at teeth and claws and see a friend was a species that did not think like other beings. Any species that could earn the loyalty of creatures bred for violence was a species that should not be challenged. They prided themselves on being conquerors, but they conquered through fear and force. The humans had conquered the most dangerous predators on their world through something else entirely, through love, through companionship, through some incomprehensible ability to form bonds with anything that lived. That night called a meeting of all his senior officers. He looked at their faces. He saw the trauma. He saw the fear. He saw soldiers who had faced death on 100 battlefields now unable to sleep because they had witnessed a human child being licked by a golden predator. "We are leaving," announced. No one argued. No one asked for clarification. No one suggested they fight harder or try a different strategy. "We will report to the Galactic Council that Earth is unsuitable for conquest," continued. "We will recommend a permanent quarantine. No species should ever attempt to invade this world." "What reason will we give?" asked. Was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke slowly, choosing each word with care. We will tell them that the humans have formed alliances with apex predators. We will tell them that these predators are found in nearly every human dwelling. We will tell them that the humans have turned hunters into guardians, killers into companions, wolves into family members. We will tell them that any species capable of such bonds is too dangerous to engage. The Celestial Dominion broke orbit that night. The entire invasion fleet followed. They left behind equipment worth billions of credits. They left behind supplies meant to sustain a decade-long occupation. They left without firing a single weapon at the human population centers. On Earth, humans watched the alien ships disappear into the night sky. They did not know why the invasion had ended. They did not understand what had saved them. In homes across the world, golden retrievers wagged their tails. German shepherds lay at their owners' feet. Tiny chihuahuas curled up in warm laps. Border collies herded children away from danger. Great Danes rested their massive heads on human shoulders. The humans petted them. They called them good boys and good girls. They gave them treats and belly rubs. They loved them completely and without reservation. They never knew that this simple act of love had terrified an empire that had conquered 17 star systems. They never knew that their pack bonds had broken the will of trained soldiers. They never knew that the wagging tail of a beloved pet had done what nuclear weapons could not. In his quarters aboard the retreating flagship, Commander wrote his final report on Earth. He concluded with a single recommendation that would be adopted by the Galactic Council without debate. Leave the humans alone. Any species that can make a wolf love them can make anything love them, and any species that can do that is too powerful to fight. The dogs of Earth, unaware of their role in saving humanity, continued to chase balls and guard homes and sleep on forbidden furniture. They remained loyal companions to the strange, brave, impossible species that had looked at their ancestors and decided to become family. And in the vast darkness of space, empires that had never known fear learned to fear the bond between a human and a dog.